again. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how to begin a group discussion. Now, before I tell you what exactly are the steps to be an effective speaker in a discussion, especially in the beginning, let's first talk a little bit about when it's not okay to begin a discussion. Now, in the videos before this, you might have noticed the process of moderation that I talked about. And I told you that sometimes the moderators in a group discussion may choose to have a certain person begin the discussion. Now, let's talk a little bit about what to do when that happens, when that person is not you. See, because the whole pressure of performing in a group discussion is felt by everybody individually and collectively, everybody will feel a little bit on edge when the moderator is just about to say, "You may begin." And it's almost funny that most of the people kind of jump from their chairs when the proverbial bell goes off. Now, to keep yourself from doing that, what you want to do is focus all your energies on the moderator or whoever is initiating the GD and not on yourself and how you're feeling. Most of the times we give in to our physical tension or physical tics because all our focus is on ourselves and how we think and how we look and what people are thinking and what they will see if they see us and so on and so forth. And that's not really an effective way of presenting yourself, especially for the first impressions. So by focusing all your energies on the moderator who is speaking to you about the topic, who's explaining the steps to you, and who's making the timeline clear, what you will do is you will calm yourself down and you will avoid the disaster of suddenly making a jump even though you were not asked to begin the discussion. As opposed to that, let's say the moderator simply announces the topic, gives you a minute, and then they just simply tell you to begin. Now let's talk about what are the good ways of beginning a group discussion. By looking at the videos on maybe YouTube or any other platform you might find, you will find a lot of students doing the same thing over and over again, which is sometimes getting up or just sitting, but saying something to the effect of good morning or good afternoon group or fellow students, and today we are here to discuss so and so. Now, there are a lot of things wrong with that. One of them is you've just been told the topic by the moderator. You don't need to repeat it. Okay, everybody knows what the topic is. They were just told that. So just by repeating that and being the first one to do so, you've not really announced yourself as a good speaker. You've only announced yourself as that obnoxious person. Okay, and trust me, nobody likes that person and you're already making enemies. So don't do that. If you want to really begin the discussion, once again go back to your topic. Okay, if it's a sentence, you may choose to agree or disagree with it, or even if you don't agree or disagree, you may choose to present your stance on it. If it's a short phrase or an expression of some sort, you can choose to explain it, define it, or give one definition, one possible definition of it. And if it's something completely different, it's like an issue that you need to talk about, then you can talk about the general understanding of that expression or what that term means to the public today. Now, by doing that, not only do you announce yourself to be the thinker and the clear speaker of the group, but you also lead the discussion in the right way. Okay, you give a stance, you give a position, you give a stand, from where on people can choose to agree or disagree with you, or not just you, but with the topic, with the tone that you've set, and the moderator will make note of the fact that, okay, this is a good way of directing a discussion. Now, you must have read a lot of articles about how to be a good leader in a group discussion and how to lead a discussion. So this is where it begins. Instead of just being the first one to speak, okay, which gets you nothing, you want to be the first one to speak sensibly. So I want to add a caveat right here, since we are talking about initiating a GD. It may just happen that in your group there is nobody who is prepared to begin a group discussion. Okay, because maybe they were thinking about something else, maybe they were prepared in a completely different way, but the topic does not lend itself to their manner of speaking. It could be a host of reasons. And now the topic is open and the discussion has begun, but nobody is speaking, and there's that awkward silence. Now it's completely up to you, or up to all of you in fact, to make use of that time. And you can do that in a couple of ways. One, you can do that by simply asking the group to start talking about the topic, okay? And don't do it so directly as to say that here's the topic, let's talk about it. Instead, put it in a kind of a position, put it in a kind of a black and white light, and say that I'm sure that some people agree with this and some disagree with this. Let us make our opinions known, or let us find out how many of us agree with this. And some people will definitely start talking at that point. If you don't do that, you can instead also choose to simply describe that topic, okay? Choose to focus on the nouns and the verbs, choose to focus on the adjectives, and see what kind of flavor that topic presents to you. So just by doing that very small thing, and you don't have to talk for a long time, it could be just like 30 seconds. Just by doing that little bit for your group, just by talking for those few seconds and being the first one to cut the tension, to break the ice, you have allowed your group to breathe easy, okay? You have alleviated that group from that tense moment, and you've given some space for the other people to start thinking about how they feel about the topic. And then I'm sure somebody will, follow up from where you left off. So these are some decent and good ways of initiating the discussion, and also good ways of following the policy of not being the aggressor of the group, not being the commandeer of the group, not being the dominator of the group, but simply a leader who is willing to listen, but also willing to take charge when nobody else is at that time ready.